We are well into the launch of New World now, and I've been watching a lot of streamers and people in-game, and I put together this list of the 5 most common mistakes that I have seen players making. So hopefully this video helps you, and let's go! Hey, this video is sponsored by my New World company. We are on the Barsex server on the Syndicate faction. If you are playing on the Australian servers and you want some people to play with, some like-minded people to play with, do jump in there, jump in my Discord, and I'll send you an invite in game. Let's go. The first one is to avoid unnecessary crafting fees. In every town, there are various stations where you'll do all sorts of your crafting business. You'll notice next to the crafting button, there is a little fee mentioned. This fee is set by the territory owners. They can increase or decrease this at their own leisure. If the people in your town are charging through the roof just for you to create like a little old axe or something, you can get some of these crafting done for free at your camp. Primarily cooking and potions can be done at your camp. And you can do this for free and avoid some of those costs. When you are looking at the fee cost, it doesn't seem like a lot when it's like 0.05 gold or 0.1 gold, but when you really add that up to if you're crafting, 50 pieces of an item or even more, and some of the resource crafting you may do, it actually does add up to be a decent amount of gold, especially if you're doing it all the time. So getting some of those crafting done, especially for cooking and for potions done for free, you may as well jump over to your camp and just do them without actually incurring any of that cost. You can decrease the crafting cost at any of your territories as well by using your territory point system. In order to do this, you can decrease it slightly, but you can just avoid it on some of these completely if you do want to go that route. And the next one leads perfectly into that, which is the territory point spending themselves. It's very tempting to pick up the experience gain perk that you can get in the different territories when you're leveling up your reputations, and some people may do this. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but what I would suggest to you is to look at something that will benefit you in the long term. There's only so many levels you can get in New World. Once you hit level 60, all of those points you have put into experience gain aren't going to be benefiting you in any way. Something that you should look to increase is gathering speed or the storage limit for that region, even the crafting fee, decreasing that for some valuable and tangible benefits that will last you in the long term if you're planning to stick with the game. You could pick up the first experience gain one, which is like 3% gain, just to get a little bit extra in the early stages, but it's better to look at the long term rather than the short term. You do have a limited amount of territory points that you can get in each of the regions, so make sure you spend these points wisely and don't waste them on things that aren't going to benefit you in the long term. You will also be moving around the regions very often, so if you're trying to decide where you should put those territory points, find whichever region's going to be like your home base. And for a lot of people, that's like Everfall, Windswood, even Brightwood, those kind of middle section areas on the map. In that region, focus on leveling up your storage limits, your gathering speed, as well as decreasing some of your crafting fees and the trading post as well, if you are going to be using that a lot in that region. As a little pro tip, you could take something from a trading post where it's sold really cheaply and maybe to another one in a different region where it's sold for a little bit more, earn yourself some free cash. The next one will be the Armour Weight. The game does a poor job of teaching you how the Armour Weight system works and how it really impacts your gameplay. In the top left side of your inventory screen, you will see the weight indicator, which will say light, normal, heavy, or even encumbered if you are overweight. Light class gives you a full roll animation on your dodge and a 20% increase to your damage overall. This is primarily where you want to be during most of your questing for the damage bonuses as well as for that full roll animation. Normal gives you a large sidestep kind of dodge ability and a 10% damage increase, as well as a 10% increase to your crowd control abilities. This is probably where you may be sitting if you are fighting some kind of elites or some of the harder level enemies, but the dodge difference here does make a difference, as well as that 10% damage. Heavy gives you a very short sidestep animation, as well as a 20% CC increase, which only a tank would really be doing if you are in expeditions or some of the harder endgame content. I imagine, and myself who has played as a tank before, really sits around the normal level for the damage increase until you get into the harder content like the expeditions and the elite zones. You can wear medium and heavy pieces of armor while still staying in that lower class. You can kind of juggle those weight limits to try and get yourself into the lower class. The reasons you want to do this is for that full dodge. It gives you the most amount of iframes when you are dodging around. Much better for PvP as well, so that you can readjust where you are in combat and close the distance on enemies so that you can take them out sooner rather than later, as well as some of the other animals that just run away from you. It's really annoying that you have to chase them, especially if you are a melee character like myself. Next, we have traveling around the world. You may see a lot of people, including myself, rolling around the map constantly and wondering why they're doing this. They are using the light armor weight that we have just spoken about, and their animation canceling the roll to maintain a higher movement speed from the roll. How you do this is you press your shift or whatever you've bound your dodge to, and it has to be the roll animation. Then you immediately hit the sheath weapon, which for me is bound to X. You hit those two keys and you will cancel the end of the roll animation where you do that little kind of gather yourself and stand up. You'll cancel that part. You'll just immediately stand up. You'll keep your speed gain. You'll be able to keep it moving faster around the world. This is also a valuable tip for combat, especially in PvP, so you can close the distance on people as well as juking them out of the way. It's a good skill to learn of just how to press that shift and X key or whatever you bound it to on your computer so that you can get away from enemies and get closer to enemies in those scenarios. Be careful as well to delay your second roll if you're going to stack these and do these repetitively so that the stamina starts to regen, because then you can get 3 rolls in for the whole stamina bar rather than 2. This is also one of the simplest ways to increase your movement speed while you're just traveling around the world. If you're just moving from location to location, you can increase it other ways, like abilities like Berserk for the hatchet. One of the passives there will increase your movement speed. There's also lunge and charge abilities on most of the melee weapons, as well as the bow and musket also have a movement speed increase passive as well. You can also quickly fast travel by killing yourself any kind of way you can, whether it be by a mob or dying in water, and then using that to travel back to a settlement so that you can just hand in all your quests at the same time rather than having to make that run back to the location. Up next, we have repairing. Now, if you are using that respawn ability or if you are dying a lot, you will have to repair your gear at various times. And when you are in the lower levels, I would recommend not to repair your gear. Avoid that temptation even when the gear icon appears on your screen. Gear doesn't lose its effect until it's completely broken, so there's no diminishing return. So you can wait until it completely breaks and then actually repair it if you absolutely need to. In the lower levels though, it's better to just replace the gear than waste the repair points. You will be able to replace the gear very quickly as you're going to get gear very rapidly, especially if you're opening all of the chests as you are doing the quests in the game. Make sure you're salvaging any weapons and armor that you're not planning on using to give you some repair points and a little bit of gold, which is always nice. Once you actually need to start repairing your gear as you get to some of those higher levels, it does have a decent repair part cost, especially if you're repairing all of your gear, which by the way, they have added a repair all button down in the bottom section. So make sure you are salvaging your gear and not wasting those repair parts, because they will come in handy later on down the line, and you want to have a good stock of repair parts when you do actually need them. And as a bonus tip for you guys, make sure that you are upgrading your tools. Get rid of those flint tools as soon as possible. It makes a huge difference in your gathering speed. You can just buy them off the trading post if you really don't want to craft your own tools, but it's very simple to just go to a bench and get up that engineering skill so you can craft the tools yourself. And please check out my leveling guide. If you're looking for quick ways to level or the various ways you can gain experience throughout New World, do check out my leveling guide. Please follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and on Twitch, where I've been doing a lot of streaming here as well as over on Twitch, so do check me out. I'm streaming a lot of New World at the moment. Thank you for watching this video. My name is NorZZa, and I hope you have a great day.